Tapish, you can mute yourself. Thank you so much. So hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's a great pleasure to host Neha Bhosle. Neha is our online student of Neo Stencil and has secured All India rank 15 in UPSC this year. And we have Neha, and we will request Neha to share her journey in this preparation, about her background, and what she has to say to future aspirants who are preparing for UPSC. So Neha, welcome, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking out your time. I know you are in ready at Labasna, and it's very
Yes.
hectic.
Sure.
I understand.
Thank you, sir, for arranging this webinar. Thank you.
Thanks. So Neha was our online student. Neha took two courses. One was the Sociology Foundation by Praveen Kishore sir, and that was optional. Neha had with sociology. Neha and secured All India rank 15. This year UPSC 2019, which was announced a couple of months back. So other than the Sociology Foundation course that Neha took on Neo Stencil, Neha also enrolled for General Studies Ethics course by Salamuddin Ansari sir, and these were the two courses which helped Neha crack UPSC. And so Neha, over to you. I want you to first share about your story, your background, and what motivated you to write UPSC. What is your education background, family background? Yeah, over to you.
First of all, thank you, Neo Stencil, for playing an important role in my journey. About me, I'm from Mumbai. I've been born and raised in Mumbai. I've done my engineering in information technology from Mumbai University and my MBA from IIM Lucknow. I was working for a private sector company for about 3 years. And while working for that company, I had different plans in my mind. So initially, my idea was to write GMAT and then go abroad for another MBA, like Indra Nooyi ma'am had done. During my B school days, Indra Nooyi ma'am was my idol. So about 1.5 years after I started working, I had written the GMAT, and I had planned to then start applying to universities and follow Indra Nooyi ma'am's path. But then, there were some friends of mine who were preparing for the UPSC Civil Services examination. One of them had got into IRS IT as well. And many of them often used to tell me that, I should give this exam one shot. Say a GMAT and another MBA could be a backup option. But this is something that I should at least try once. And I was in two minds for quite some time. And then finally, I decided, let's just give it one shot. And when I was working at that time itself, I started preparing a bit. It became very hectic. I wasn't getting time at all. So finally, in April 2017, I left my job and started full-time preparation for the CSE. This was my second attempt. Last time, I could not clear the mains. And my optional was sociology both the times. And this is about my journey. So my friends motivated me to write this exam, and initially I decided to give only one attempt, but it eventually became two. And if not this, I had my GMAT score ready. I'd also started applying to universities, so I would have gone for my MBA then. Yeah,
and what about your family background? Did your father motivated you on preparing?
My parents were always supportive of whatever I wanted to do. So if I had decided to go abroad, they were fine with that also. They are fine with this also. Only thing that they were particular about was that try only for IAS or IFS. Do not go for IPS. Apart from that, they were okay with anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Neha, when you started preparing in 2017, as you said, you left your job. Very brave decision. Of course, Gaurav, left IIM Lucknow. Worked in the iBank for some time, and then decided to write CAT. Decided to write IAS. So I'm sure that was a difficult decision. But how did you start preparing for this from the basics? Because after engineering and MBA, you were just out of touch. And how was the basic preparation started for you?
So one thing I want to tell anyone who is quitting a job, now this might be an ethical gray area, but what I did was, after I left my job, On paper, I joined my friend's startup. So if I had to apply to universities, I had work experience to show for the period after I left my job as well. So my friend has a startup, and I was like a co-founder for that startup. This might sound ethically slightly grayish, but like we know, universities and even future private sector recruiters are not very enthusiastic about gaps in employment. So if you are thinking of leaving your job, this is something that you might consider doing. And there are a lot of startups coming up nowadays. So this can be one option. Or if you have your own family business or something, you can show that you're working for that. So do have something ready in case this does not work out. Talking about how I started right from the beginning, while I was working, I had seen the basic NCRT, some of the basic books. And at that time, I hadn't finalized my optional. I had thought of writing with management as an optional because that was the easiest. So I'd done a bit of that and seen all the basic books. Just I didn't make any notes. I just gone through them. Then once I started full-time preparation, I had joined the Vision Foundation course. So they have this whole foundation course with pre plus mains integrated, everything. So for me, the lecture notes that I made from Vision were my base material. I did not make any notes from, say, your NCRTs or from, say, Lakshmikant sir's book or Spectrum. Whatever sirs or ma'ams dictated in the Vision course, those were my base notes plus whatever handouts or PPTs they were giving. So that is how I started my preparation with the Vision Foundation course. And for optional, for socio, I had joined Praveen Kishore sir's. Uh, it was a foundation course plus test series. So that covers socio. And while Vision also had ethics, but I thought ethics was on paper where you can score really high. So for that, again, I took Ansari sir's classroom coaching. I think uh, theory plus case study. So it was that integrated course which he conducts. So besides, I kept my sources as limited as possible. So just the basic books, but the class notes were a good supplement to all those basic books.
And how did you decide sociology as an optional coming from engineering and MBA background?
So yeah, I was initially, while I was working, I was preparing with management as an optional. The thing with management was, first, the syllabus is very, very, very huge. And there are no good coaching notes or forget classroom coaching. Even notes are not available, not of any past topper or any proper one-stop solution books were not available. So it was just taking too much of time to read the books myself and then make notes myself. So when I left my job, I thought, because I'm preparing full time, I might as well choose a new optional. My logic for selecting management at that time was because I was working, I had less time. So let's just choose an optional which I was already familiar with. Now time was not unconstrained, so I might as well choose a new one. How I shortlisted socio? Well, I had gone through whichever optionals were available. So I just eliminated all of them based on some parameters. So geography, I just do not like geography, even the GS geography. So that was out. History, everyone says is low scoring. So that was out. I was thinking of economics because Gaurav Agarwal sir had taken that. But, paper 2 was a bit too much for that. It was too, first, even paper 1 was a bit too technical, and then paper 2 was too current affairs oriented. So I thought it would again become like management, too much of self-study, too much of work by myself. So economics was out. Then I had thought of, I'd almost shortlisted English literature, but then I met a guy from Forum who said that English literature is not that scoring. The syllabus for English literature is amazing. So that again was out. So what remained were those 3 or 4 very general optionals. One was PSIR, one was Anthro, one was Socio. Anthro was out because it had bits of biology and I was not comfortable with that. PSIR, the thing with PSIR was, I was very sure I'm not going to Delhi. I was comfortable staying at home and studying. Or like, even if I don't stay at home, I would at max go to, say, Pune. I was not going to Delhi. And for PSIR, you have to join Shubhra Ranjan ma'am's classes. Like everyone says, you cannot do PSIR without Shubhra Ranjan ma'am. So Shubhra Ranjan ma'am was in Delhi. So that's why PSIR was out. So finally, Socio was left. So that's how I shortlisted Socio. Yeah.
And so you enrolled for the Sociology Foundation by Praveen Kishore
Yes,
sir.
yes,
Last year, Praveen sir taught All India rank 2, Anu Kumari,
yes,
Akshat Kaushal rank 55,
yes.
and so many students. What was that difference you found in his teaching, and how he added value to your preparation?
So I
You scored almost
honestly
270 marks in sociology, very high scoring marks.
277, yeah. Yes, sir.
77.
Yeah. So because I only know one sir, so I really cannot compare with other professors. But the thing was, for paper one, I had gone through Upendra Gaur sir's notes also, and for paper two, Mohapatra sir's notes. So whatever Praveen sir was teaching, my classroom notes plus Upendra sir's notes plus Mohapatra sir's notes. So all three combined, I think, provided a very good base for sociology, which I just then had to supplement a bit from current affairs plus some of the standard textbooks. So I think for someone who is not from, say, a humanities background, joining a class really helps save time. So I think the biggest advantage was it saved a lot of time. So because I hadn't joined those classes, say Upendra sirs or Mohapatra sirs. So if I had just started reading those notebooks without anyone else teaching those particular topic, it might have been difficult. But because say I did one chapter from I understood it from the lectures that Praveen sir gave. I wrote my own notes, and then I saw it in Upendra sir's notebook or Mohapatra sir's notebook. Then it was much easier to understand. So that way, it supplemented my notes and textbooks also. Yeah.
Different strategy, taking classes from the best of the teachers. But
Yeah.
yeah. And how about Ansari sir's classes? How did you find them?
Amazing. So Vision also had ethics, but it was very less. I think we had some 14 or 15 lectures only, and for case studies we had, I think, three or four. So 15 for theory, I think, and four for case studies. So I thought, this was one paper. It's a full paper, 250 marks worth of paper. So maybe I can increase my score in this. And I was not very comfortable reading the textbook. So after I finished my vision lectures, I had started reading lexicon. I was just not comfortable reading the textbook. So I thought, let me just join another, maybe someone who specializes in ethics. So Vision, it was a general course which had everything, while ethics, Ansari sir only teaches ethics and I think PubBad. So I thought, let me just join one particular course which is dedicated to ethics, so that I can maybe possibly increase my score in ethics. So thinking that, I had joined Ansari sir's class, and I think he took some 32 or 33 lectures only for theory plus 7 or 8 lectures for case study. So a lot was covered compared to Vision, which had almost half of the lectures as to what Ansari sir took. The notes that he dictates were my base material. I have not read lexicon at all. So my Vision notebook, my Ansari sir's notebook, then the Vision value added material, plus I had taken the Lukman workbooks that Ansari sir gave, both for case studies and for theory. I studied ethics only from this source, and I think the coverage was very, very good. I scored 147 in ethics. I think this year everyone has scored very high in ethics, so may not be a good benchmark, but I think the course definitely helped a lot in increasing the score to this. Yeah.
And how Neo Stencil added value to your preparation, if at all we added some,
You
benefit?
added a lot of value because, like I said, I was not very comfortable going to Delhi because I'd heard a lot of things about how, you get very small rooms to stay, and then classrooms are jam packed, and you have to reach like 1 hour early to get a good seat in the classrooms. I was like, yeah, I don't really want to put in so much efforts. So I thought, let me just sit comfortably in my room and study. And the best part about online lectures is you can watch it at a faster speed. So almost all the lectures that I watched were watched at say 1.5 or 2x. So it saves your time. Plus, you get used to writing fast also, because you are making, at least I was making running notes from my lectures. So you get used to writing fast if you are listening at a speed of 1.5 or 2x. If you have a comfortable environment at home or wherever, say if you can stay in some PG in your city or whichever town you are staying in, I would really suggest online classes, because going to Delhi and then spending so much time in offline classes, because an offline lecture will take full 3 hours, plus your traveling time and all, maybe 4.5 hours is what you will need for that one lecture, which in an online mode I can complete in say 2 hours. No traveling required, plus you can watch it fast. So from the time perspective, I would say online lectures are really good if you have a environment where you can study well. Yeah. Hello, am I audible? Hello. I
Yes,
think.
yes, yes. Actually, there is
Yes,
some.
yes, yeah. So yeah, I was saying online lectures are really helpful because they save your time.
Yeah.
Plus, at least I found whatever evaluation and so for vision we had assignments every day. We had a weekly test. We had obviously the main test series.
Okay.
Even for Praveen Kishore sir's classes, we had those online paper full test series. So I was okay with that. You can just write the test, you can scan your copies from your phone, mail them or upload them on their portal, and you get the checked copies and say Vision used to send it in like 1.5 weeks. Neo Stencil was sending it again 2.5 weeks. So it is okay. Even writing tests in an online mode is fine, not just listening to lectures. So yeah, both is quite good.
Okay. So, can we have a questions from the students now?
Sure, sure, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a one student. His name is Akshay. He's asking. He's facing in making notes. He's facing difficulty in
Hmm.
making notes. So,
Okay, okay, okay.
do I need to make separate notes of NCRT?
Um, See, it depends on. See, I did not make notes from NCRTs because my class lecture notes were more than enough instead of NCRTs. But if you're studying on your own, if you're doing self study, maybe you might consider making notes from the NCRTs because you need some one particular set of notes that you will be able to revise in say that 1 month before the exam.
Right.
So if you're not joining classes, you might as well make notes of your own. By the way, I have uploaded all my class notebooks on my Telegram channel, and I've also written all my strategies in detail on my blog. So you can search there. If you are okay with my notebooks, you can refer to them or you can make your own notes. So wait a minute. Can I just put it in the chat? I'll put the address in the chat. Okay.
Okay. Okay. No problem.
Yeah. To just a second. So just 1 second. Okay.
Okay. No
You
problem.
can search. So this is my blog, and yeah. So I've put the address for my blog and my Telegram channel, nehabhosleblog.wordpress.com, in case you
Okay.
cannot see it in the chat. Neha Bhosle blog, NEHABHOSLE Neha Bhosle blog.wordpress.com. And my Telegram channel's name is All About UPSC CSE. All ALL underscore about ABOUT underscore UPSC underscore CSE. So, if you are not very keen on making your own notes, you can just see my notebooks. They're very detailed. So, whatever sir or ma'am used to dictate, I made running notes right from whatever they were dictating. I wrote everything. So, if you're okay, you can refer to those notes, or I would say at least have some notes ready which you can refer to in the last 1 month. So, either make it on your own or refer to someone else's notes. Yeah,
Right. So we will take a second question,
sure.
and which is like, tell me about answer
Okay,
writing practice.
so
Yeah, please.
yeah, I know Mrunal sir says that you should not start answer writing from day one, but at least because in Vision we used to get assignments every day. So whatever was taught in the lecture, based on that, an assignment was given. So every day I was writing at least one GS answer. So I would suggest whatever you complete, say you complete one chapter of any particular subject, either see any past years, if any question was asked based on that topic in the previous years, either write that yourself or just frame a question yourself if you can. You can see some of my assignments and my mini tests from Vision again on my blog, on my Telegram channel. That way you'll get an idea of what kind of questions you can use for practicing. uh, Inside Secure has questions from current affairs. I am not very comfortable with the whole reading one article and then framing a question on Inside Secure also. I did not do that. I read Inside Secure for GS2, GS3 and GS1 also, but I did not answer those questions. It was more of reading it from the current affairs point of view, like a magazine. I don't know how they evaluate because it's peer evaluation. I'm not sure if peer evaluation is up to the mark. Whatever I was writing was being evaluated by teachers, either from Vision or from NeoStencil. So those evaluations were very good. If you can, I would suggest do join a test series, and join that long kind of test series. So the one that starts, I think Vision, the first test series starts sometime in August or something. So your full 25 or 30 tests, uh, you will you will study according to the test syllabus. So your portion will also get covered properly. Plus, your answers will be evaluated by good teachers. I'm not very comfortable with self-evaluation or peer evaluation, but if you have a good peer group, you might as well get it checked by them. It's your choice. If you have that much faith in your friends or whoever you're studying with, then you can get it evaluated by them. But I would suggest joining a test series for answer writing. And my entire answer writing approach, again, I've shared it on my blog. It's too big to say 4 or 5 minutes of answering a question. uh, just refer to that. It's very detailed. Refer to my blog, please. Thank you.
Okay, so we take next question, and which is like, for sociology, what is the basic study material you have used, and did you go through the one source first and add up other source too up in your notes, and or did you refer all the sources for one topic and make notes?
Okay, so I refer to a lot of sources. Again, my blog has a very detailed post on sociology optional, including every page number from Haralambos that I've referred to. So, which books? One for paper one, Haralambos is very good. You can check my blog for which page numbers I referred to from Haralambos. Then for paper one, the thinkers part, I had referred to Upendra, especially for the thinkers part, I refer to Upendra Gaur sir's notebook. Then for thinkers, I had done ESO 13 block of IGNOU. Then just once I had gone through Vikash Ranjan sir's book, I think Fundamentals of Sociology and Applied Sociology. The two books, one for paper one for paper two. I just gone through them once and did whatever value addition I could to my notes. And then for paper two, I had referred to Tusharanshu Sharma sir's notes also. And some of the IGNOU modules, which you will find it on my blog, which IGNOU modules I had referred to for paper two. For paper one, I only refer to ESO 13 of IGNOU. Paper two, there were a lot of modules. I'm not able to recollect all the names now. Then, yeah, and just one reading of Nitin Sangwan sir's book also. My strategy for socio was have my own notes ready. So I did not make much notes for GS, but for socio, I thought, let me make very detailed notes because referring to too many books at the time of exam would be too time consuming. So what I used to do was do either one or at max two readings of any of those books that I've mentioned. And then whatever additional info I got in them, say more thinkers or more viewpoints or more perspectives, I added to my notes. I shared my notes also, both for paper one and paper two. I've shared my notes again on my blog and my Telegram channel. You can refer to those notes if you find them useful. I would be really glad. Some people believe that just reading one book is enough for an optional. I personally don't think so because, GS papers are generalistic. Optional papers are supposed to be specialists. And you've seen like this year, I really don't know. I think the optional, at least humanities optional, saw very low scores this time. But I think, if you just read 1 or 2 books, you can reach a 270. But taking that to 300, 310 plus, I think requires a lot of study from diverse sources, plus, of course, interlinkages with current affairs and all. After this year's marking, I'm really not sure if 300 plus again would be very easily achievable in an optional, but I do think optional does require additional efforts. Just 1 or 2 books is not enough for that. Yeah.
We receive a lot of queries from the students who are still in their graduation, like second year, third year, and after Tina Dabi,
Yeah.
people got to know that she started class 11th and 12th. Everybody got into that. It's better to start preparation and let's try and crack in the first or second.
Yeah.
That's where you are more energetic. So what is your suggestion to undergraduate students who are in second year?
See,
students,
how
should they start preparing for it?
Sure. See, one thing people forget is Tina Dabi ma'am was not just an undergraduate student in some XYZ university, okay? She was studying in LSR, Lady Shri Ram College, which is, I think, one of the top 10 colleges of the country for, I think, Pol Science was a subject. So, do keep that background in mind as well. Or I think, so in my batch, there are some students who again cracked in the first attempt and were preparing from college. Again, a lot of them are from IITs, from NITs. So I'm not saying that it is easier for them, but do remember that these people have a much easier backup option as compared to, say, someone who's from an XYZ university. Say, an LSR on a CV will always get a preference over your XYZ university. So please keep that in mind when you select your role model, that, oh, so she did it in that, in say during her college years. But not everyone has the same kind of, say, retention ability or same kind of comprehension skills, or even we say this is a exam that requires a lot of understanding, but we forget that there's a lot of rote learning involved as well. Spectrum literally has to be rote learned. Lakshmikant has to be rote learned. So not everyone has the same capacity for that. Be very clear where you stand when it comes to this. Do not just assume that, okay, if I start from, say, class 11, I will crack the exam in, say, first or second or third or whichever attempt. Be very clear about your own abilities. This might sound slightly harsh, but you have to be realistic. You know the kind of seats that are available right now. You know the seats are decreasing. You know that, this is one exam. Say, if you are writing a CAT, if not an IIM Ahmedabad, you can get into, say, IIM Kozhikode or IIM Indore, which are still good enough. But, this is one exam. If, say, not an IAS or an IPS or IFS, do decide if you're okay with, say, some of the other services. So the stakes, it might look like, say, there are 800 seats, but there are not 800 seats. There are barely 200, 300 seats available. So keep that in mind when you decide to start preparing for this exam. Do not be over optimistic or do not overestimate your abilities, is what I would say. But if you're sure that, you have a fair amount of rote learning skills, decent memory, decent comprehension skills, fair enough answer writing skills, then yeah, starting early will definitely help. But again, do have a backup ready. Do not just think that, oh, I will, crack in the first attempt or second. Because, once you get stuck in the cycle, it will be very difficult for you to escape from it, especially if, you don't have that kind of a family support. Say, I know a lot of people say that this XYZ person cracked in the 5th attempt or 6th attempt. You do not know what kind of backup those people had, okay? I personally know someone here who cracked in the 6th attempt, but that person has a very good and established family business. So those things are not something that are known to people. People just see that, okay, this. So, keep everything in mind, your own abilities and your family background, and then only decide to enter into this cycle. And also, if you have ever played poker, know when to fold. So know when, it is enough. Don't just think, okay, one more attempt, one more attempt, one more attempt. That would be a never ending cycle. If you get out of it, well and good, but if not, you will be in a very terrible place. So, get that clear in your head, and then I would say start. Just starting from college, very good, but like I said, don't think that just because she did it, you would be able to do it. She was from LSR, keep that in mind. Yeah. No, yeah.
So, this is the students who are in third year, fourth
Yeah,
year.
sure. Yeah.
Shall they, in a couple of years, till the time they're not eligible to write the exam, only preparing for the general studies portion, or should also choose their optional and start
I think
preparing
choosing an optional would be a good idea, because I think the static portion does remain same. So at least I know for socio, paper one would remain same. For paper two, of course, you'll have a lot of current affairs linkages. But yeah, it would be a good idea, especially if you are planning to take coaching. I think your pre-final year or your final year would be a good time to cover your general studies and your optional coaching as well. And then I think once you graduate, you will be probably writing your first prelims. And yeah, I think it is good if you complete your coaching for both in your pre-final or final year, or if you're studying by yourself, again in those 2 years. But do keep in mind that you also are in a college, and it would be good if you also focus on your exam, so you have decent enough backup if this does not work out. I'm not being pessimistic here, I'm just showing you the reality. Don't see that your whatever 900 seats, you have barely 300 seats. Okay, IS, IPS, IFS, IRS, IT, if you're okay with that. No, I mean, I'm not saying any service is good or bad, but let's be honest, we start preparing for this exam with, say, IS or IPS or IFS in mind. Let's be honest with that. And just remember, the stakes are very high and you need to have a very strong backup. I don't know about you, but I personally would not have been comfortable, say, giving a state PCS or writing, say, SEBI or RBI or any of the other exams. If you know what your abilities are, identify your abilities, and just, I would say, don't settle for just any XYZ service just because you've invested time and efforts in giving this exam. Yeah, that's what I would say. Please focus on your college exam also, because you do need a strong backup. Yeah.
Of course, you need the degree first.
Yeah.
So, and Neha, so you attempted UPSC last year, you could not clear mains.
Yes.
So what are those 4 or 5 things you did differently which helped you crack rank 15 this year?
Last time my optional wasn't completed. I had finished paper 1, paper 2, a lot of chapters I could just, very quickly go through. I did not have time to go through them in detail. Plus, even for GS, I could not revise the static portion. There was just not enough time. This time, because immediately after I wrote my last mains, I was sure I would either very narrowly clear it or very narrowly miss it. And then, if there is no point in narrowly clearing your mains. You have to clear it with, say, cutoff plus 70. Only then you can think of a top rank. So I was fairly sure, even if I get, say, a 200 in an interview after clearing with whatever margin I was expecting, I would have to write another attempt. So right after last mains, I gave, I think, around 2.5, 3 months to whichever static portion was left, which I couldn't cover due to paucity of time. I made notes of that. I completed all that. So this time I had everything ready. I had my notes. I'd already gone through them twice almost. And so, yeah, nothing different as such. My answer writing style and all, everything was same only. But yeah, last time I did not have enough content for some topics because I could not revise them due to paucity of time. Yeah, that's all. Funny thing is, last time I had around 217 sociology. This time I have 277. Yeah, it looks like it didn't increase that much, but I think 277 of this year is like 300 plus maybe. Yeah, so I was very... Yeah. And GS, in fact, I think my score for GS3 and all decreased, in fact, compared to last time. But it's okay. I think GS4 and SA, my score improved. Everything else was almost same only. Yeah.
Compared to last year, how many more tests you wrote last year? compared to last year?
No. I think everything was similar because I was part of that Vision Foundation course. I finished all the assignments, the mini tests, and even after, they had increased the deadline for some of the tests. So I had finished everything. Plus, this time after the prelims, I wrote eight total 2 tests of each GS paper. This was forum. So that's all I wrote this time. And I think I wrote 5 or 6 essay tests for Balyans. That's it. Nothing additional. Like I said, it was just that some syllabus wasn't completed last time. Yeah.
So I think Neha ma'am has already shared her Telegram channel, so students can go and access the Telegram channel and her blog as well.
Yeah, Neha Bhosle blog.wordpress.com. Yeah.
We're going to share that over our email as well when we share the video on our newsletter.
Sure. So thank you.
You can go through the blog for a detailed strategy around Neha's preparation.
Yeah. Yes.
And also, what is your take on now that everybody is stuck at home? People are not sure when the exams are going to getting conducted on time. Or going to be conducted on time.
Yes.
Going to open. What is your suggestion and to the students who are stuck at home and preparing for the next UPSC?
I think this is the best possible thing that could happen because anyways, malls are shut, theaters are shut. You have no distractions at all. You just have to sit at home and study. So yeah, make use of this opportunity because I think you have very minimal distractions available now. So you might as well study. And just don't speculate. I know on Telegram, a lot of speculations go on whether the exam will take place on time or when. Just don't bother with that. UPSC will conduct the exams on whatever timetable they have declared. They will conduct it according to that. My interview was after the lockdown, and even we were so worried that just now the flights have begun. How will they even manage to conduct it? They manage it very smoothly. So don't worry. If they have said that they are conducting it on XYZ date, they will. Yeah. And I think the next prelims is almost here. I think the gap between this prelims and last prelims is quite small. So if you have not cleared this prelims, just quickly gear up for your 2021 attempt. And who are writing this mains, all the best, first of all. And one thing I would say, just because this year GS4 has seen such high scores, don't just focus on GS4. Now I'm suddenly seeing everyone asking what to do for GS4. It is not necessary that next year it would be this high scoring. So focus on all 4 papers and your optional as well. Like this year, we have seen PSIR even Anthro PSIR got very low scores. It might not get repeated in 2020. So focus on your optional, focus on all the 4 GS papers, focus on essay equally. The marking pattern will change. I think for 2020, I think ethics will see a low score maybe. Optional again may reach 300 plus as a good score. So yeah, that's what I'll say.
Any final tips, the last question, that I'll ask, any final tips to the students of, Neo Stencil on how to make best use of the online courses and, prepare? How did you, optimize your time and preparation while you were accessing courses?
Yeah, one thing about online learning is self-discipline is very important because, you don't have any peer group with you. No one is going to tell you, come on, let's go to the class. No one is taking your attendance or anything. The videos will just get uploaded on the portal. It is up to you to watch them yourselves. They are not going to send you reminders that, you have to watch this, you have to complete this. Vision, I remember, at one point of time, there were like 15, 20 assignments pending for me. And I just, took off one day and decided that I have to complete it. So self-discipline is very important because it just happens that you don't have anyone with you to study and it's okay. You think, okay, I'll watch it tomorrow. I'll watch it later. I'll watch a lot of videos together. Oh yeah, one thing, do not binge watch videos. This is not your web series or your TV show that you can just, binge watch, say 7 or 8 videos in one day. You will not be able to retain it. And I personally think that that's of no use. Whenever your lecture gets uploaded, watch it either the same day or the next day. I never watched live lectures because I preferred watching it at a faster speed. If you are okay with live lectures, you can watch them also. But I would personally say just wait for them to be uploaded. And just that day itself, watch the lectures on time. Because lectures are not meant for binge watching. That's what web series and TV shows are for. Be very regular. Say your assignment is due on XYZ date. If not by that date, at least try to complete it by 1 or 2 days after that. Do not keep everything pending, because then it will never get completed. So that's what I'll say. If you're an online student, self-discipline is very important, because no one is keeping track of whatever you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
And
Neha. Thank you so much.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. All the
Sure.
best, everyone. All the best.
Go ahead, you had to say something.
No, I was just saying, and I personally never called any faculty for asking doubts, but I think from what I've heard from my friends, faculties are very approachable on phone as well. So don't think that just because you're an online student, you will miss interacting with the faculty. You can, I think, call them or email them, and I'm sure they would respond. Yeah.
Thanks. In fact, Praveen sir has started, interacting with students almost like on an alternate day. There is a Zoom session that we do for interactivity and everything. So,
Oh, nice,
thank you
nice,
so,
nice.
thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
so
much. Thank you. Thank you.